Welcome to the WMMA Today podcast, episode number 41 with Drake Riggs and I, Steve King. We don't have a lot to talk about, like scheduled to talk about, but if you want to drop questions, feel free in the comment section. We will answer them as usual. So on this episode, we'll be talking about the UFC Vegas 21 recap, of course. There were 3 fights on that card. And then we got a little bit of fight news, not much, but we do have a tournament to talk about. And then, of course, UFC Vegas 22 happening on this Saturday. There are 3 fights, and one of them is fucking phenomenal.
They're all pretty good.
But they just made this fight, and I'm super hyped for it, man. Super hyped.
Yes.
We'll be getting to that later on. So let's start with the UFC Vegas 21 recap, where Angela Hill beat Ashley Yoder via unanimous decision, 30-27s, by all 3 judges. It was a pretty good performance from Angela Hill, right?
Yep, definitely was, and a lot more dominant kind of than I expected it to be. I wasn't really excited for this rematch as soon as it was made, and of course it wasn't originally the plan for either fighter, kind of put together short notice. Just stylistically didn't get me too hyped up, but this ended up being one-way traffic in an entertaining fashion. Angela Hill looked very good. Really, it's hard to beat Ashley Yoder this convincingly, generally, I would say. So impressive in that regard. And the biggest surprise for me, probably, out of the whole results here, is the fact that the judges didn't give any 10-8s, because I think round 2 round 2 or 3, I think, could have both been scored 10-8s. I gave 10-8 in round 2, I think, and that was when, looked like Angela was on the way to getting a finish there potentially. So I don't understand how, that didn't happen by the judges. And of course there were some other controversial scores throughout the night and all, but very impressive stuff from Angela Hill. But if we're going to be honest, like, she was supposed to win this fight again, right? So, is what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And the judging was horrid. These judges need to pull their fucking heads out of their asses. Something has to be done with MMA judging, especially lately. It's crazy, the judging and the referees. Like, there couple fights on each card, there's a referee misjudgment, and then a couple fights on every card, there's something with judging. Like, it shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't be thinking so much about judges and referees. Like, we should be thinking about the fights that we're watching, not like, what did Chris Lee, how did he judge this fight? You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, as far as Angela Hill, man, she looked great. Which she should have. Ashley Yoder wasn't ranked. And Angela Hill is ranked. Her last couple of fights, she could have got the nod against Michelle Waterson and then Claudia Gadelha.
Right.
2 very tough opponents. She should absolutely have beat Ashley Yoder, which we talked about last week, and she did. She ended up dominating the fight. The only thing about this, Angela Hill, it doesn't help her in any way. Ashley Yoder doesn't help her in any way. It's just her staying busy at this point, which is fine. She's got that Donald Cerrone thing going on where she just wants to stay active. That's fine, but at some point she's gonna have to look up above the rankings and stop taking these fights that can hurt her more than what they should. Like if she would have lost to Ashley Yoder, it would have been a fucking absolute travesty. It would have been very bad for her. Kind of like Joanne Calderwood losing to Jennifer Maia type of situation. Not as bad, but I mean, if Ashley Yoder would have beaten Angela Hill, would Angela Hill still be ranked right now?
Highly unlikely.
Right.
but the rankings are absurd, so who knows?
Zazakina?
Yeah.
She's number 12.
Right. Yeah, no, it would have been pretty brutal to her stock and all of that. You mentioned Maya and Calderwood. I get the comparison there, but yeah, her losing to Yoder would have been much worse, like a spot, because Jennifer Maia, of course, was a top 5.
How's that a worse spot though? How's that a worse spot when Calderwood literally had a title fight handed to her, and she was like, "Whoa! I want to fight sooner. And then she ends up losing to Jennifer Maia and ends up losing her title shot, which she lost a title shot. Like, that's bad. It's very bad.
Right. I just meant in terms of opponents kind of in positions on the ladder, but...
Okay. As far as the opponents, yeah, Ashley Yoder's a very bad loss.
Yeah, especially...
Would have been a very bad loss. But she didn't lose. Angela Hill won. She was incredibly dominant in that fight.
Yep. And, just kind of... It gets her back in the win column, essentially, officially, and it'll be interesting to see where she goes from here. But again, it's like, the win doesn't do much for her, or it was a decent risk versus very low reward, right? Just getting back in the win column, as you said, stay busy. Originally was supposed to have a Tisha rematch, which would have done more for her if she were to win and get redemption in that. A fight that she lost the first time. So, just essentially gets her back in the win column, as I said, and looked very good doing so. But, it doesn't really tell us too much or anything new about Angela Hill. And I know that Bisping was like, maybe it's the best Angela Hill we've ever seen. Well, you got to consider opponent as well, like not the knock on Ashley Yoder, but
I think the best Angela Hill that we've seen, like aside from Invicta, because she was fucking phenomenal in Invicta, was in the fight against Michelle Watterson.
Yeah, that's very fair.
I think that was the best Angela Hill that we've seen in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean they both look great in that one. So
that was a great fight. Angela Hill looked great. I thought Angela Hill won that fight. I also thought Angela Hill beat Claudia Gadelha, which she didn't win either of those fights. But yeah, I mean it's nice to see Angela Hill doing well. She's been around for so long and like such a good voice for women's MMA. Like she's kind of like either you like her or you don't. Type of person, and she's fine with both.
Yep, just kind of doing her own thing, and can't really be too mad at anybody who's doing that. So, yep, good performance for Angela Hill. We will see what is next for her. Can't go wrong ever at strawweight. We're gonna say that every week, you guys. I'm pretty sure we do anyway. Strawweight is fantastic. So, and we will get back to that division after we go up to flyweight here for the middle bout of the card.
Yeah, so JJ Aldrick, she ended up beating Courtney Casey via a split decision. I think you had Courtney Casey winning that fight, right?
Nope.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. I thought you had her winning the fight as far as the scoring, but I guess not. Okay, so JJ Aldrick, she looked very good. Is this the best JJ Aldrick we've seen?
No, but I can't think of when the best JJ we've seen is. Like it feels weird. It always feels weird to say that a fighter's best performance was in a loss. Like there's only a few
Well,
few
I
cases where
just said it. I just said it with Angela Hill.
yeah, that is very true. Yeah, you did just say that. But like it's very rare to say that. Like the number one that comes to mind is probably like Chael's best performance of his career was
Oh, Anderson,
probably against Silva the first time.
100%.
Like
Yeah,
you can't really deny that. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
number one example.
He was literally seconds away from being a
Yeah.
champion and beating one of the best ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was 100% the best performance of his whole career.
Yeah. So with JJ, like in thinking about her best performance so far, the one that came to mind when you mentioned that was like, well, she looked very good against Macy Barber, even though she ended up getting finished in that one.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if it was that good overall, and I could be very well forgetting something else that she has done. But yeah, this fight too with Casey and Aldrich, they both looked pretty solid in this fight, and I
Yeah,
really was really impressed with some of the little things that JJ did and how she was able to kind of chain her takedowns off of some of her combinations, which was kind of a new thing that we haven't seen her do, at least to the same success that she did in this fight. And of course, that was a little bit of a defensive issue that we've seen Casey having at flyweight since going back up, is the fact that, her takedown defense has kind of faded a little bit in this return to flyweight. And that essentially, I think, kind of cost her in this fight. Very, very close, very competitive. And I know that a lot of people were saying, robbery and think Casey should have won this one. And I was the only media member that did score this for Aldrich. I think that she edged out. It came down to round three. So round one and two were pretty clear here, I think. Even though those stats seem absolutely ridiculous here now that I'm looking at this. But I thought that JJ won the last two. But that third round is,
takedown.
yeah, the takedowns there. That's right, and the control time, all of
Yeah,
that. Um,
I think
yeah,
that's
it
what
was
I'm going to fight for.
right, and understandably so. So it's like, it, first of all, close fights, not robberies. Always got to mention that. But in this case, I just think that she was the the striking was very close in that third round, as you can see there, just by the stats. Effectiveness was maybe a very, very slight lean towards JJ, in my opinion, and then plus the nice takedown and
Yeah.
minimal control time, but it was a very good takedown that she got there, and I believe got into a good enough position to where it should have counted and scored and what have you. Especially when the striking numbers were so close, that's when you got to look at kind of everything in that regard. So I think the right person won here, but I wouldn't at all have been mad if Casey would have won it.
No, it was a very close fight. I mean, you can see the numbers. It's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like it was entertaining though. I definitely think it ended up being the most competitive fight out of all the ones we had, which is what we predicted that this would
Yeah.
be the most close one. And
Yeah.
probably, I don't know about Angela Hill's performance was very entertaining but very one-sided. But in terms of competitiveness, and then the fight that we'll get to here in a second, kind of back and forth as well. But this one, I think, with the closeness and all, it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it, and
I like this fight. I like this fight.
I don't know though. I think that Courtney Casey, it was even in defeat, she looked a lot better, than we
Yeah.
kind of expected her to, because it was hard to tell what we were going to get from her after this rough return to flyweight, as we've been mentioning. But yeah,
Yeah.
she looked all right. But man, I believe she 500 now. I think her record is
She's
9 and
close.
9. I think 9 and 8.
She's close to getting the cut, I think.
Yeah, which is a bummer, especially when you're on the receiving end of a close loss like this. So,
Yeah. I do think that she's close though. Speaking of cuts, they cut Shannon Dobson.
oh yeah, that is right. Yeah, that's not on the docket. So yeah, good mention there. Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of called that too. At least I think I mentioned it after that happened. But
Well, dude, we've been fucking saying,
well, she should have been probably cut before the
yeah,
Agapova fight, right? So
yeah. And then she pulled the Agapova win out of her ass, and then she ended up winning, beating Agapova, and then she came back and got starched.
yep.
She went back to her normal getting starched self.
So that is how that goes. But yeah, JJ Aldrich
She
gets the
looked good.
W. So yeah, and we will
I
see.
I agree with you, Moni, and welcome. Courtney is fun, and hope she gets another chance. I agree with you. I do. I don't think that they'll cut her. I don't think they will. But if she takes another loss, she won't have a winning record anymore. They don't want that. The UFC doesn't want that. And there's so many younger fighters, that they can give spots to at this point. Contenders coming up again soon. So I mean, they're gonna start making cuts again.
Yep. Very good point. Very good point. That's just how things are working these days. And speaking of the Contender Series and veterans, we
Yeah,
got that complete balance in the very first fight. Not of the night, but the first female fight. So
yeah,
here we are, and we called it, Steve. We
yeah,
knew. We knew.
yeah. So, Jinyu Fry beat Gloria De Paula by unanimous decision. It was nice to see Frey come back and kind of show show her the the kind of champion in her. Like this was a really good fight for her. A really good fight. This was a fight that she should have won. Like we were saying last week, Gloria De Paula is a decent fighter, but Frey is just better.
Well, it's like DePaula's not there yet. That's the thing. It's like she can be. She can get there for sure. We saw,
Yeah,
flashes of
there were little flashes, like you said, flashes, little
round
times
two,
where
obviously.
right where she looked okay, where she looked good. We were like okay, and then obviously that went on for only one round.
Yeah, man. It's just yeah, I can't. The odds maker ignorance, man, it kills me. They had Jin as the underdog in this one, and I get
Stupid,
it. Having
stupid.
having watched her UFC career so far, been disappointing. That this was a must win, and ended up, getting that a very feel good win. Cannot help but be happy for Jin after having gone through the stretch that she's had to, and finally getting the UFC, and then being matched as kind of this back end gatekeeper a little bit and not really getting any respect, especially going into this matchup. But you look at it, just the experience difference and all of that stylistically.
Yeah,
I don't know if I expected her to employ or have as much success with the grappling offense that she ended up utilizing to literally get that win. As you can see, the control time in rounds 1 and 3, almost the entire rounds, which is pretty nuts to see. 444 in round 1 and then 438 in round 3, almost the entire thing. About as clear cut of a win as you could ask for, and of course not super flashy or anything, but hey, name of the game is win. And she did just that. A veteran performance, smart performance. It was kind of interesting to see that second round, how it played out. And like, she kind of got away from it. So maybe she felt a little bit comfortable, see how she could do on the feet. And, DePaula just kind of found her success there. And, Jin still, even in victory here, she's still not the same fighter that we were used to seeing, I think, at atomweight. Of course, that goes
right.
without saying. But she should still be able to win these fights and won this fight. So,
Yeah,
you know,
I
it's
agree.
good
And
good
she's
to
not
see
getting
for
cut
her.
after this one, at least.
Right, right. So she lives to fight another day, and you can't help but be, happy for her in, getting a win like this. And Man, I saw a lot of hate for her though, which was very
Yeah,
strange. Did you see this as well?
I did. A lot of people were, but you know what? Twitter's a wild place lately.
Very true.
You know, I try not to even pay attention anymore to what people say about fighters and stuff. Um, yeah, it's just crazy, dude. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, that is the best way to put it. But
Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about fucking social media at this point when it comes to talking shit about and two fighters, like literally two fighters. You know,
who's the other one? Who did I miss? Or you mean both of them? I didn't see anything for DePaula.
any
Oh,
fighter in general,
right, fair.
fighters in like any fighter who loses or fucking in this case, Jin, she won.
Yeah, yeah. So that was good fun. But
Stupid.
it was UFC Vegas 21, everybody.
So I didn't see this question from Zazakita. I I responded to his first question and I didn't keep reading. About Angela Hill. If she's close to 10, which she's number 12, maybe she should fight Amanda Hebus. What do you think about that fight with Hebus?
Yeah, I think that's good. I don't mind that at all.
I agree. I like that fight. I really do like that fight.
That's probably the way to go. I think that it would be pretty telling for both of them. You know,
Hmm.
see kind of where they stand at this point. And then stylistically, I think that would be fun. Yeah, so that would be he was still 10-ish, right? I believe.
Um,
So
she's number 10. She's
yeah.
10 and Angela Hill's number 12 still.
So if you're gonna look at it from that point of view, like yeah,
Makes sense.
that's probably not a bad one to make. That's for sure. And Moni agrees. So there you go, everybody. It's on. Angela
They do.
versus
I really do
Hebus.
like that fight.
Yeah, that would be good. Just a matter of when we could get it.
This is
Yep.
true. Good thing for Hebus is that Angela Hill can't hit as hard as Marina Rodriguez. That's very, very true.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Like, and then of course the yep, and then you know Zazakita mentions the more experienced striking. Yeah, I think that you would have to imagine that Angela Hill would probably win that striking battle for most of that fight. But I think that Hebus could hang in there. It's not like she's a bad striker or anything. That we make her. I don't know if people are making her out to be one after getting knocked out by Rodriguez, which no shame whatsoever in that. Rodriguez is an animal and a
Yeah.
phenomenal striker. But yeah, I think that Hebus would hang in there on the feet with Hill for sure. But Hill would probably edge it out. But then, if Hebus wants to take things to the ground, that's where it gets problematic. And, even in that win against Ashley Yoder still was able to get her down. So Angela Hill's takedown defense is still, it has improved, definitely, over the course of her career, but it is still kind of a weak point, a little bit suspect when, the Ashley Yoders of the division are taking you down, and you got to consider the other people in the division. That is not good. Like my mind jumps to Kanako there because I saw people mentioning some things, and like yeah, I think that Kanako would win that fight. Of course I do, but stylistically we got to look at
That
these
would be a
matchups
fun
here,
fight too,
folks.
though.
Yeah, and so Hebus I think would be able to handle Hill on the ground pretty convincingly, but that's what makes it an interesting matchup. So I am down for that, and
Me
yeah,
too.
Moni.
I agree with
Oh,
Moni. Oh, we
yeah,
both
there we go.
did it
Yeah, I
again.
know.
Hill would stay next week, and she would fight next week. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
works for me.
I think of both of them. I don't know where Hebus is right now, but is she in Florida?
Hey, get that on 261.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they would both probably be down for one of those fights or one of those big fight cards that are coming up.
Yeah. And why not put that on there? So that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And Zazakita, you mentioned here Hebus would go back to the ground game. Well, to just remind you, friend, like she did take Rodriguez down in the first round. That fight, that round ended on the ground when they were getting up there. Of course, it wasn't like her go-to game plan, obviously, but she did take that fight to the ground. And even though Rodriguez did tell, Marina told me in our discussion, our interview that we had after the fight, that she kind of started that engagement. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but she was kind of saying, no, she didn't take me down. I kind of asked for it and went for it myself, and it backfired a little bit, but is what it is, So, and yep, totally fair. I forgot about the first round. Rodriguez the KO was too scarring. Yeah, it was brutal stuff there, but that's what we love to see. So, all right, let's move on now, you guys. Twitter mailbag time, and a very light load as we just have one question here, and
which is crazy, dude. This is ridiculous. Only one question?
What is going on, people? Where are you? Where's Alex?
we're used to getting a bunch of questions. We're used to getting a bunch of questions in the comments. What the fuck is going on this week?
I know.
It's a dead week.
Everybody's taking a break this week.
It's a dead week. Yeah.
Totally fair.
Not too much hype for this fight card coming up. By the way, Moni, since you're here, since I have you, your boy Bobby Knuckles versus my boy Calvin Gastelum.
KG.
That's right, Moni. My boys can take your boy down. Still love you though.
Calling her out. I
have her here with me now. Now. Might as well do it. Face to camera.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. We'll see what you got for Steve, Moni.
All right. So the one Twitter mailbag question from our friend, friendly Sparpod. He changed up his name. Is Angela Hill the most underappreciated women's fighter on the roster? And yes, Moni, we do fight. Let's go.
Oh no. And yes, Zazakita, I see that. Don't you worry, sir. That is on the lineup coming up here next for you. So yeah, this, as you saw, I responded to this when he said it. I was like, oh man, I'm dying to quickly answer, because the answer is no. No, she is not, Juicy. Come on, man. Like, you think about this. Angela Hill is probably overappreciated, honestly. Like, if we're going to be totally real, like, it is, her appreciation for her is deserved, but like, for example, going back to the Bisping comments, like I said, and saying how maybe the best performance ever, like, not ever, but, by her, calm down a little bit. Yes, it was good, but the reason I say that, first of all, just looking at herself and why she's not the most underappreciated fighter is because, well, look at, everybody loves her for taking these fights consistently and being very active. That alone, people appreciate that, definitely. And then the fact that, she's getting more gigs and doing some, not commentary things, but like analyst role work, and,
she's doing a lot of analyzing now.
Yeah.
She's even doing the in-cage stuff. The
Hockey Victory.
Yeah. I can never freaking remember that
name.
Yeah, I can never remember it. Like, I think I did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
I'm like the in-cage thing.
It is a unique name.
You know what I'm talking about when I say it, though.
Right.
So it's like, so it works, I guess.
Yeah. So just those two factors alone, I think, make her not the most underappreciated fighter. And then, so just everything we said right there. But then you got to think about all the other fighters who are very good, not just in the strawweight division alone, or not the whole every division, but the strawweight division alone, there are much more underappreciated fighters. I would have said, Livia Souza was up there until she got, starched by Lemos. Yeah. There's plenty. And even, I think Carla Esparza is probably one of the absolute most overall right now, with the resurgence that she's having. So, I mean, there are plenty of...
People were literally talking so much shit about her the potential of her getting a title fight against Weili Zhang. Like, the potential of it.
Yeah.
Oh, people
Not
were
even
fucking
happening.
mad about. People were mad about it. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Carla Esparza, former champion, fucking a
4 in a row.
phenomenal wrestler. Like she's literally turned her career around again. Like she was on a skid, and then all of a sudden she's fucking going up again.
Yeah. So she might be the number one right now.
Roxanne Modafferi doesn't get a lot of love.
Roxy,
She does as far as like her nerdiness or whatever, but as far as her like fight skill and stuff, she doesn't get a lot.
Yeah, look at the odds on all of her fights.
She's literally always the underdog. And then there's Nico Montano.
Yep.
People shit on her all the time. Every chance that they can get. Jermaine Durandamy. Those are two former champions. 3 former champions that we named. Carla Esparza, Nico Montano, and Jermaine Durandamy.
Yep. Very, very good choices there. And of course, I did think of GDR as well. Yeah, the point is, it is not Angela Hill. That is the main point. And we're scratching the surface. Really, there are some that we definitely aren't mentioning as well. But Sazakita chiming in here.
Yeah, he says people are frustrated with Carla because of her multiple split decisions. Well, Angela Hill too, which people believe she wins by lay and pray. She's a wrestler, and at the end of the fight, she looks beat up, a la Marina Rodriguez fight. Yeah, well, she gets tagged. I mean, that's kind of what's always happened in her career. But the lay and pray, she's a wrestler. What do you want from her? She wrestles.
It's funny with Carla in terms of debunking kind of the lay and pray thing, because I think that with her style of wrestling, she nullifies other people's activity from the bottom, and does enough to where it might not be a whole lot, and piling on damage or incredible volume, but like she prevents people from being more active than her on bottom, which is really big and may lead people to look at it as a lay and pray type of style. But you got to think about the work that she's doing in that game within the game, right? Which is those little grappling positions. So
a lot of MMA fans, they don't see the little things. They see what they want to see in a fight. But like you said, it's the little things that she does inside of the game.
Yeah. And well, Zazakita, here you mentioned this. Damage is more important than, just holding top position. That is a fact. That is. And expecting Khabib ground and pound, though, that is a good misconception, is the fact that, people see that done so incredibly well, like Khabib has done it, as frequently and often as he did it. And then it makes you think, why can't everybody do that? Well, not everybody is fucking Khabib.
Yeah, there's literally only one Khabib, unless if you want to say Tatiana Suarez as well, because she does basically the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, she did it against the person we're talking about. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's interesting, kind of the perceptions people will have about certain styles or fighters specifically, obviously, and
well, they see what they want to see, and then when somebody starts chiming in on like social media or whatever, people latch on to that viewpoint rather than seeing the whole picture.
Yeah. So it's interesting either way. And just the whole point to finish up here about, Carla specifically is like, the fact that her fights have been close on this winning streak is kind of, why I just barely put like Yan Xiaonan above her in terms of, let's say, who the true number one contender right now. in my personal order, it's like flip flop between Carla and Yan Xiaonan, who are getting to fight each other. So I guess it doesn't really matter. And then Rose right after them probably. But I would give the slight edge to Xiaonan just because 6-fight winning streak, all more clear wins than the splits that Carla has been having. But you got to look at who it's against as well and all that. And she still has done enough to get the victories. So it's all how you really break things down. And as Steve said, people see what they want to see, which is probably the truest thing you could say. Like people will see things for how they want to themselves, especially if they don't agree with them. So
is what it is. If they don't agree, then they kind of go with the narrative of this person doesn't do this, so they suck.
Yeah. And Moni, great point as well.
Yeah. Same with Mackenzie Dern, and missing weight. She hasn't missed since she came from having her baby. I'm fairly sure she hasn't. Memes never die. That's right. When people remember something, or once something is out there, people will remember it, and it lives with a fighter forever. It's like this Jermaine Durandamy thing. She had a hell of a fight against Amanda Nunes.
Well, Nico, man. Go to Nico instead.
Nico. But hers is kind of weird because she hasn't really fought that often.
Right.
Jermaine Durandamy, she had a hell of a fight against Amanda Nunes. We still hear about her being a fake champion and how she was ducking Cyborg and whatnot.
Not as much. But
no,
yes.
Not as much. But it's still out there. It's still very much out there. And like Moni said, memes never die.
Yeah. And just to touch on weight things, it's funny because I was chiming into JHK's show over SCMP MMA before we went on here. And to go back to Kelvin versus Whitaker, he was like, on short notice, will he make weight for this?
Yeah.
It's another guy.
Yeah, it's true. I would assume that Kelvin taking this fight, he's going to be okay. I would assume that. That's a massive fight. Dude, if he beats Robert Whitaker,
puts himself right back up there.
He's in title contention.
Yep. Yeah. Gets himself a rematch maybe, and that would surely be fun. The first one was incredible. So
the first fight was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's literally the only person that we've seen do anything against Israel Adesanya, really.
Aside from Jan.
Aside from Jan. But Izzy went
at middleweight.
Yeah, yes, Izzy went up to light heavyweight, and he got outclassed by a really good champion.
Yep. And, hey, good to see you, Arthur, chiming in here.
I wonder if Mackenzie's new gym will get her striking up to Nina Ansarov's level. It's gonna have to. She's gonna have to do something about her striking. I mean, but
looks good in the last fight.
But yeah, she has progressively gotten better with her fights, though.
Yeah. And we'll see how Nina looks after the layoff. And kind of going through a big
gone for a
bodily roller coaster. But yes, I like that you're seeing some respect for Nina there, Arthur. Awesome to see people realizing that. And I see you, Ghost Phantom. Good to see you as well. We will definitely get into that. I tweeted that out if you probably saw. I was bewildered. But as for Nina Ansarov, incredibly underappreciated as well. One of the more underappreciated fighters we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. She beat Angela Hill. People forget she outstruck Angela Hill very convincingly. That was a very good win for her on that stretch and up until the Tatiana Suarez fight. And then even against Tatiana, had very great success late in that third round. Won the third round against Tatiana. Outstruck her and kept Tatiana off her. Of course, could probably blame that partly to the injury on Tatiana's side, but is what it is. Nina Ansarov is very good as well, and how can you not be training with the GOAT? So that is what it is. But all right, moving along. Did you have something there? Sorry.
No, No, I was just gonna say I'm pretty hyped for Mackenzie Dern and Nina Ansarov.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I like it. But yes, all right. As we get rolling along, as people coming in here, appreciate you guys. Good to see everybody coming in here right as we get to the news. And boy, am I excited to talk about this one. Zezakita, I believe you mentioned this earlier. We're getting into it, man. News time. One in power. Big news. Big news with the matchups, a title fight, and just the whole card in general. Take it away, Steve.
Yeah, it's an all female card, which is amazing. We're gonna get the tournament, the women's atomweight world Grand Prix. As you can see on the screen there, we have the 4 matchups. Sorry, I'm enlarging it so I can read it off the names.
Yeah, my bad.
Denise Zambonaga versus Hamderley. Love that. I love that fight. And then a rematch with Eliona Rasoyana and Stamp Fairtex, and then Itsuki Hirata and Elise Anderson, and then Mengbo and Ritu. So these are really good fights. I think we've already talked about the fights because this was how they were pictured, right? In that first.
No, actually, they shuffled it a little bit. Yeah, they shuffled it up a little bit. And also, Steve, yeah, you got to mention the title fight as well.
Yeah, right. And then the title fight, Zhang Jingnan versus Michelle Nicolini, which is a great fight as well.
Yep, that'll be the main event. Love some Panda in action. That's going to be awesome. And funny, I feel kind of bad for Panda in this announcement of sorts because it's taken a back seat to everything. Like that's flown so under the radar in terms of the news here. But yeah, Panda is back. That is big news. That is great news. You know, the strawweight champ headlining this card and taking on Michelle Nicolini, who is a very good BJJ practitioner.
Yeah.
You know, getting up there in age, 39 years old, this is pretty much her last hurrah, I think. And she's, aside from Jingnan, the only other person to beat Angela Lee, if you will remember that much. So that tells you what you need to know about Nicolini if you have not seen her fight before. So yeah, that's I guess a fine title fight there for Jingnan. She's, you know, getting to that point where she's clearing out that division, and Nicolini is you know, somebody she hasn't fought yet, so I will take it. I'm all for that. But as for see, Moni didn't even know. That's what I'm saying. It's been completely
crazy that the main event title fight is taking a back seat, like you said, to a tournament. But it is. People are hyped about a tournament, about the atomweight tournament. It's one of the best divisions in the world.
Yeah, and it is understandable, despite, you know, as we're saying that it is crazy. Like, I absolutely love the matchups they did here. I think that this was about as good of formatting as they could have done. You know, like, of course, we knew that Rasohina and Stamp, that rematch, that was the only reason Rasohina is in here is because of the fact that she got that Hail Mary, and, you know, they had to run it back. Why not start it in the opening round? Of course, we knew that was going to happen. And then, you know, everybody else here, like, yeah, it shook out very nicely. Elise Anderson and Itsuki Hirata, both, you know, Itsuki is really kind of the big, her and Ritu are the big prospects, the most, you know, inexperienced fighters in here, but have boatloads of potential. And just before we get farther into this, it is really, I am seeing so many people believing in Hirata and that she's gonna like make it to the finals, and it's kind of really shocking to me to see all the support for her because, you know, looking at the bracket and everything, you know, Sohi, of course, as we've said, she's clearly, you know, she's far and away she's the best fighter in the world at, you know, at her weight class right now. And of course she is going back up to 115 in this situation here, but she's one of the best fighters on the planet and the best fighter in this tournament. And it's very, you know, it's not very close. Not to say that these aren't, you know, plenty of great fighters as well, because they are, but that's how good Ham is right now. And Ham 100% should be the favorite to go to the finals and just win this whole thing.
She should be.
Then
but it's a tournament, so things happen.
Yeah. And then on the other side of the bracket here, my second person most likely to, second person I would bet on, as we were touching on when this was announced, is I like Meng Bo, who is the most experienced aside from Ham, and that is my picks just to make it to the finals, is Ham and Meng Bo. And
but then you have Ritu, the really good, the really great and phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah, that's why that's a great opening round matchup for both of them.
Fun matchup. Elisa Anderson could pull it off too. That's what's crazy about this tournament is anything can happen.
Yeah, no, that's why I like it too, is because Elise Anderson is a very good. She's not the toughest test by any means out of everybody on here for Hirata, but a very, very good test and a very, a solid sleeper in this thing because of the work that she's done and some of the wins that she has in Invicta. Like, everybody's really high on Itsuke, and for good reason. I think she will be around for a good while, and one of the top fighters, very young. But
what, 20?
No, I think she's 22, 23-ish maybe, but
she's young.
But I think Anderson will beat her. Like, people are not giving her enough respect so far and are really, really hyped up on Hirata, which is a bit surprising to me, just when you look at like level of competition that everybody's fought and what have you. So it is very
21, apparently.
Okay, 21, cool. But yeah, just the tournament is going to be very fun. Anything can happen, of course, but like just looking at how things are mapped out right now, feels I feel pretty confident and comfortable with how things will go, but we will see. Yeah, man, I really like it. Which matchup?
Do you think that Elise Anderson is the best United States representative for the atomweight division? Like, if they were able to take whomever, is she the best representative from the United States?
So it just kind of hit me again, thinking about how this is at 115 technically. So Elise is going to be going up, which now that I think about that makes it a little more interesting for her, because she will be outsized by Hirata, because Hirata's a pretty...
She's bigger, yeah.
Pretty solid frame sized, 115er. But and then just with that question you threw at me, obviously it would be Zapatella. But again,
but she's like 95 pounds.
Yeah, considering the size.
And 4'11".
So if we think about it from that regard, I mean, Elise Anderson probably... It's hard to say because of thinking about the atom weights that would be going up, or if you're picking from the general straw weights. I just fucking wish that one would just name their divisions properly.
I know. That's the one thing that's kind of maddening about it. But I mean, whatever. It's just one of those things that I guess we have to get over at this point.
Yeah.
Because I don't see them changing that at all, ever.
Yeah. So just to look through some of these comments here real quick, as Arthur is going off, and
I love Hirata, but she isn't going to make it through, and that's okay. She's only 21.
Yeah, okay. Plenty of time, as you say.
Yep.
And this is an interesting comment, if true.
Also, the Japanese fans and Shinya Aoki were ripping into her. They were? After her last fight, Aoki was saying she hasn't improved and calling her Japanese Ronda Rousey. That's pretty funny. But
I mean, that's a big compliment at the same time.
Well,
but it's also like the Alexa Grasso comments.
Yeah, that's true. But why was Aoki saying something about that? It's weird.
I mean, that guy doesn't hold back ever, so.
He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't. But I mean,
maybe he wasn't impressed.
Kind of rude. You know?
Especially when he's on commentary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's weird. I don't know.
That was a solid performance.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with him saying it. It's fine, but it's kind of weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Jimmy, good to see you, sir.
Elise said on a podcast she not only trained with Whaley, but Whaley helped her add dimensions to her game. I like to see what she added. Me too. Like I would love to see what Elise Anderson is going to bring to this tournament. I'm not saying that she's not the one of the best atom weights in the world. From the United States, I think that she probably, other than Alicia Zappitella, she's probably number 2. And we're not going to see Zappitella.
Well, Cummins is up there too.
Yeah, that's true. But we're not going to see Zappitella go to 1, which is kind of unfortunate. But Elise Anderson, I do think that she will do fine in this tournament, especially if she wins her first fight and then Ritu gets the win. If Ritu gets the win,
an upset,
she can go to the finals.
Yeah, Ritu is a real big sleeper here for me.
It's her wrestling, man. Her wrestling is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, but man, she's getting just a major step up, step up against Meng Bo.
like you were saying, Meng Bo, she should probably be like maybe Stamp Fairtex and her are neck and neck as far as the second person in the tournament, as far as like ranking.
Yeah, and I think Arthur mentioned it too, but one doing Zamboanga no favors, because if Zamboanga was not going against Ham in the first fight, then she'd be definitely more talked about in terms of making it all the way here. But that's a very tough mountain to climb, obviously, in the first fight, and anybody who takes on Ham. But yeah, man, what was it right here? Some Arthur said with the Aoki comments, Japanese Ronda Rousey means that she is going to get knocked out against a good striker. And let's assume that Hirata and Meng Bo fight, which very possible in the second round or the semifinals, excuse me. Meng Bo probably knocks her out in my opinion. So, it's going to be, I'm very excited for this. I am very excited.
Yeah.
And, with more Arthur saying he remembers Meng Bo struggling with the ground game in her last fight. Wonder if Ritu has gotten a slight chance to upset. Of course, she has a good stylistically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would say she struggled in that last fight. It was kind of a weird approach. And then, of course, the weight miss for Meng Bo in that last fight, I think, was just kind of a part of weird circumstances outside of preparation and all that. But, she had moments on the ground in that one. It wasn't like she got completely outclassed. But, of course, the opponent she was taking on, Santos, not as good as Ritu. I think that is fair to say. So these are all interesting in their own regard, and it's awesome that it is going to be unfolding before our eyes like this. And to add to this card, I think that one said that there will be 2 alternate fights taking place also on the card, and then another major matchup. So don't know what that entails, but very excited for this card. Fight. Yeah, all ladies. So very cool that they're going all in on it, and why not? I think that's probably the smart way to do it. And yeah, man, it's gonna be exciting. So I've already laid out how I kind of think this is gonna go.
I agree with Arthur. Just what Arthur just said. Oh, wait, where did it go? That's not the one. Coming up for me. Said.
What did he say?
He said something about Ritu, about how she.
Jimmy said this.
Oh, Jimmy said it. The problem with Ritu is her entries in a clinch and wrestling exchanges are predictable. I agree with that 100%. She
kind of gotten away with it.
Yeah, she needs to work on that, especially coming up against Meng Bo. That's a tough first fight for her.
Yeah.
But again, she's a really good wrestler. If she is able to take it to the ground, she can win.
Yep.
But it's a big if. It's a massive if.
Yeah. And Mangbo consistently working on her ground game as well. And surely in this matchup, we'll be expecting expecting a wrestling heavy attack from Ritu, which, I mean, only logical. So, yep. And then Arthur mentioning that Stamp versus Sohee would be fun as well. That's if Fairtex doesn't get caught again. Yeah, she could very well get caught again, but don't know how likely that is. That first one was very much a Hail Mary, but I think it's safe we will get Ham versus Stamp in the semifinals, which, yeah, that will be very fun to see. Ham taking on somebody like Stamp. Still, of course, big edge to Sohee just for the overall game that she has, but on the feet, that'll be as fun for as long as it lasts. But yeah, man, I see it as we'll get Stamp and Sohee, then Ham's going to go to the finals after that.
Yeah,
and then I think Mangbo, Elise Anderson, and then Mangbo for me, man. I think we'll have China versus South Korea if we're going to do early picks here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then, of course, the winner is going to be Hamderley.
Yeah, I mean, that's the safe pick. And that's the most interesting thing about all of this is, as we've mentioned with Elise Anderson, technically going up. And I mean, not technically, they are legitimately going up from the actual.
Really going up, yeah.
Yeah, going up from 105 to 115. And then I don't know if Elise Anderson has, I'm sure she's probably fought there at least once before. But Sohee Ham, of course, has fought at 115 in the past.
Yeah.
And, had a bit mixed results. She's undefeated below 115 pounds, I believe. So that's where things get interesting for these two fighters in particular, is how they handle these much bigger, opponents. But of course, in terms of skill, talent, all of that, Sohee Ham 100% should win this. And it, that's just how it is. But it gets interesting. Tournaments, all good fun. So
love it.
Yeah. And Arthur with some, preemptive thoughts, and of course that is what we are all thinking towards and what we're alluding to. Sohee versus Angela Lee.
I think that's what we all want.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm okay with the tournament leading up to it.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, these are all new opponents for Angela, which is pretty crazy. These would, no matter who wins, unless I'm forgetting somebody, but I'm pretty sure that they're all new. They would all be new. Yeah. So.
Yep.
In that case, I'm just happy to see Angela versus somebody new. That would be awesome. But of course, Sohee's the one that you definitely want to see. I really like the Mangbo matchup as well. But of course,
I want to see them fight each other.
Who's that?
Ham and Bo.
Yeah, I know.
I want that fight.
God, there's so many great possibilities here. But, yeah, no, I mean, Arthur, that's the thing. Of course, Angela Lee, incredible as well. We'll definitely have the size on Sohee Ham in that potential matchup. But again, man, Sohee Ham is one of the best in the world, like, period. And yes, so is Angela Lee. But even when you look at positions and divisions and all that, Sohee Ham's at the very top. But when you look at 115 pounds, Angela Lee is in the top 15, I would say, for sure, worldwide. But she's more in that back of the 15 area. Like, I don't know. Sohee Ham is just, she's very, very, very good. And of course, things might be different, as we said, back at 115. But Sohee would beat her, I think. And man, how wild would that be for her? Like, the belt collector. People do not realize how many titles that this woman has won. I believe I would have to pull it up, but I did a kind of a thing looking at this. She's won around 5 different kind of titles or title. Let me think. I got to pull it up now. So, but if she could become, go from Ryzen champ, Road FC champ, One champ, like, people don't realize how accomplished the Sohee Ham is, man. So
she's so good. And Moni says, I'm deep in my bias, but Ham wrecks everyone.
She could make it look easy. That's the funny thing is, like, we're very excited for all these matchups and all that, but if anything, if anybody's going to just run through it easily, like, it would be her. Like, there's no doubt about that. So,
and Stamina, welcome.
Welcome, sir.
my pal.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can pull this up real quick because now I have to know.
So Arthur said Elise Anderson is like 5'5". She could fill into that frame to be ready at 115. Sounds like she likes being a size bully at 105. Yep, she's definitely a size bully at 105. She's not going to be that fighting at 115 at all.
Right, especially against some of these fighters.
Yeah, she's not going to be able to bully them.
Yeah,
and if she fights Bo or Ritu, she won't be able to bully them at all.
No. So yeah, it gets no matter who, no matter who she faces in the semifinals, assuming she gets past a very good sized Hirata as well. Yeah, she's gonna have her work cut out for her in that regard. So
yeah,
it is gonna be something. All right, let me see here. I have it. All right, Sohee Ham, Ryzen Super Atomweight champion, Road FC Atomweight champion, defended that title twice. Deep Jewels Atomweight champion, defended that title twice as well. So in total, she's got 2, 4, 5. Yeah, five total, title victories like that, and across 3 different organizations. Yeah, man, she is very legit. In case you didn't know for some reason.
Ghost Phantom says, "What's crazy about Ham is she didn't look good at strawweight in the UFC, but wrecks people at atomweight. She absolutely does. Her UFC stint was kind of unfortunate, though."
The funny thing about that, Ghost Phantom, is I'm going to argue against you there, and I don't think it's not that she didn't look good, because she did look solid. Of course, she didn't look as good as she looks at atomweight. Then no, there's no denying that. She's looked phenomenal, especially on this recent stretch, better than ever, easily. But in her debut, right? Her UFC debut.
That's a tough fight to begin with.
And the thing is too, like, Sohee Ham fighting in those 4 UFC fights at strawweight, she fought 3 fighters who are at flyweight now. She fought the biggest people they could have possibly matched her up against with, and she fought Beck Rawlings and Courtney Casey as well.
Courtney Casey, yeah.
And she was arguably robbed in what I think both of those. Of course, because the JoJo fight was that was a clear loss. But, she was very competitive with that one. I think surprised a lot of people, especially with her durability. You remember the crazy front kicks she was eating. But then Beck, that was a robbery. I think everybody.
That's what I'm kind of alluding to when I said unfortunate. An unfortunate stint in the UFC. She could have been 2-1 in the UFC.
Yeah, she could have been 3-1, because the 4 fights, and the Danielle Taylor one also, which
I forgot about that fight.
Danielle Taylor could make atomweight. Arthur mentioning that here, even Jimmy mentioning that. So yeah, she should have. She, depending on different judges, man, she very well could have been, stuck around in the UFC. But I think in terms of her career and trajectory and all that, it worked. This is the best way it could have worked out for her. The fact that she didn't end up winning those fights, even though she arguably should have. Look at how things have played out since. It's been probably a lot better than it would have been if she would have stayed there. So
yeah,
it's very interesting how that all plays out. And
I do think that she's having a better career than if she would have stayed. She's
making a lot more money, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's doing very well for herself.
Yeah, just looking incredible, as Arthur mentioning her knockout power has improved significantly. Yeah, she really wasn't much of a finisher throughout her entire career, but then this recent stretch, she's got
she's gotten better.
All of them.
She's gotten to be a better fighter, all around better fighter. Yeah, it's something clicked in there, to where she was she's the full package now. Yep. We didn't see the full package in the UFC.
Yeah,
we saw a very good fighter, but just she's different. She's a different animal right now.
Hamderley. So, yeah, man, cannot wait for that.
So I'm assuming everybody in the comments, Ghost Phantom, Jimmy, Arthur, Moni, of course, Stamina. I'm assuming that Hamderley is the overall consensus winner of this tournament, right? Or do you guys think that somebody else wins the tournament? Tell us in the comments.
Yeah. Are you one of these Itsuke Hirata simps, or are you a logical human being going with Sohee Ham, who really that's the only right answer? But goodness, the Hirata army, I cannot believe it. Really, like if you go onto any post about this tournament, it's flooded with support for her, which is really cool to see. But like, man,
see, look,
unwarranted
there you go.
a bit.
There you go, right there, Arthur. Brain picks Ham. Hearts with Rata because he's a simp. It's okay to be a simp.
She is very likable, so it is fair.
Yeah, she is. Ghost Phantom says I'm going with Ham.
Have to.
Moni, I know you don't even have to tell us. I know that you're going with Ham. Stamina, who are you going with? And then Jimmy, who are you going with?
Yeah. I like that though. Brain picks Sohee for sure. Yeah. And then my heart wants Mengbo just because I have a special place for Mengbo as well. But
Sam, but I'm with Stamp Fairtax. Like my heart wants Stamp to win, but then
wants that too, probably.
But then she's on the tough side of the bracket. She has to overcome a person who she's already lost to, and then there's the best fighter. If they both win. Jimmy says got Ham, good striking setups all around her. Yep, I agree. Moni, she's super cute, but yes, Ham. Super cute as in Hirata. Yeah. Yes, she's adorable. She is adorable.
Yeah, man. It's funny though. You say how she's on the hard side. Stamp is, which she is because of the fact that both Zamboanga and Sohee Ham, either one are tough matchups, but like the whole side,
she has to overcome a loss. Like she's coming. Her first fight back is against the person who just beat her.
Yeah,
in a very tough, unfortunate way for her.
Yeah, no kidding. A fight that she was very clearly on her way to winning, and then really
she was literally winning that fight. Like that's heartbreaking, dude. That's got to be heartbreaking for a fighter, Yeah. And then Arthur did say if I had to pick a second choice, Mengbo or Stamp, just because they have decent striking that the wrestlers Ritu and Hirata don't have. That's why I love Stamp Fairtex because of her Muay Thai. I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful fighting to me. I love Muay Thai. If you don't already know me, I'm all about the wrestling and the Muay Thai. Stamina says, I freely admit to being all the way out of my element here, Steve. I never remember that one is on. Oh,
I've never catch this one though, man.
And it's on such a good time for you too. You're 8 hours ahead of Drake and I. I've never watched any of their events, so I'm just hold my corner and stay quiet. Okay.
Appreciate the honesty, buddy.
But Stamina, I'm gonna at you when it's fight day. You need to watch this card. Stamina.
Yep. And to go off what Arthur's saying, I like what he's throwing down with the striking. You look at Stamp and Mengbo in particular. Stamp,
yeah.
Of course, in terms of pure striking with the Muay Thai background, probably
she's the best out of all.
Yeah, she's the best. And then you look at Mengbo though, who he's mentioning both of them as the second choice. Like Mengbo's got the power for everybody in this. Yeah. He's got the heaters. She can crack and put away anybody in this tournament, which makes it very exciting in those aspects. So yeah, I like what he's presenting there. And to go back to something that Arthur mentioned too about, just the top atomweights in the world being older.
Older,
He says
yeah.
pretty old. Ayaka is, yeah, I think Ayaka is
Isn't she like
turning.
40?
No, I think her 39th birthday is at the end of this month, I believe.
Yeah, she's pushing 40 now.
But I know this is something to mention, obviously, as you are mentioning it, Arthur, and about literally the top two best and the two best ever, Ayaka and Sohyam, being older now and better. They're better than ever at these later stages in their careers, but it's really kind of just them. And I mean, I guess Miyu as well, who is damn near 50 and still one of
Yeah,
the best in the world. But it's like only those three, because you look at after them, you got Khanna, who is 23, right? And then, you look down the line, Reina, who, I think Reina's 30 now, but it's really like only those three. And you look at Alicia Zapatella, who she's what, like 27, 28-ish? Like,
yeah, I think she's like
if you,
26.
yeah, if you look at the overall picture of the atom weights, the very best in the world, the top 10, like, I guess, some of them kind of, you look at Cummins again, and
It's kind of a mixed bag.
yeah, yeah, that is fair to say. But it's funny, though, how the very best, though,
But the very best.
are
Yeah,
kind of
they're older.
significantly older than
Mhm.
general. It's kind of like heavyweight a little bit, but
Yeah, that's
but
true.
not in terms of how heavyweight generally is. But yeah, I just wanted to mention and point that out. Of course, sir, good stuff. Ghost Phantom saying, just look at Hom's ability in the pocket should tell you enough. Yeah, man, she's just a killer, pretty much everywhere.
So Arthur's talking about the UFC, and I hope this event is successful to show UFC that they should replace the featherweights with atom weights. I just don't trust. I don't trust. I've lost my trust in the UFC on how to handle the women at this point, other than the straw weights.
Well, these are the strawweights technically too. So
No, but
in that regard, Arthur,
if they were to bring in a new division, an
yes,
atom weight division, I don't trust them. I'm perfectly fine with Ryzen and One having the elite atom weights in the world. I'm perfectly fine with it.
yeah, and
And then
even Deep Jewels and Invicta,
right, and then Invicta, yeah, Invicta's. I mean, they have Alicia Zapatello. They have good fighters, Cummins. But
Del
then
Boni.
yeah, Del Boni. But then he's also said, I hope the UFC can get all the top atom weights like Ayaka and Ham, but that's probably a fantasy. I do think that that's a fantasy, unfortunately. But Drake and I agree that either the UFC or Bellator would be great for the women if they were to open up the division, especially Bellator, more Bellator than the UFC, because again, I don't trust the UFC at all.
Right.
They've lost my trust when it comes to the women.
Yeah. And Arthur, it would be very cool. And specifically for somebody like Ayaka in particular, who of course that was kind of a goal that she had, and the reason that she kind of was testing, going back to strawweight while she was the Invicta champion. You remember she went up and had her fights
Yeah,
with, Claudia and Livia, which didn't quite go well, which were partly injury related. But, she went up to do those in, of course, attempt to maybe become a double champ in Invicta. But at the same time, show the UFC that, all right, you should sign me as a strawweight kind of thing.
yeah.
But so in that regard, it would be really cool to see all the atom weights in UFC, of course, just for the sake of boosting that division, and as well for the fighters who have worked their whole careers to kind of get to a big stage like that. But at the same time, like, Ayaka's not on a bad stage now. She's not in a bad spot now whatsoever.
No, I'm perfectly fine with them not being in the UFC and being in One and Ryzen, because they're getting treated great at Ryzen and at One.
Yeah,
And then, like you said, at Deep Jewels and then Invicta, they're being treated fine where they're at. They would not be treated well at the UFC. They would be on undercards, and we would it would be kind of like the flyweight thing. Like, they almost got rid of the flyweight division, a division where there's only fights that are exciting. They almost got rid of that division. They didn't even know how to treat Demetrius Johnson, one of the best MMA fighters ever. They didn't know how to treat him. They didn't know how to treat him. They're not going to do well with the atomweights. I just don't see it because they don't treat the smaller weight divisions the right way.
Yeah, unfortunately, very true. And I think that like things are going just fine for everybody. All the best atomweights right now. It's very fun how things are. Everybody for the most part is willing to work together. So we're kind of like getting a combination.
We have Bellator and Ryzen working together. We can see that happening again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's like it would just be very complicated for the UFC to wrangle up everybody and to actually make the division a legit division.
Plain and simple. They would fuck it up. They would somehow they would it would be a mess, and we would all come back here in a year from now, and we would be talking about how bad the UFC is with the atomweight division. I can see it. I can see it down in the future. I just don't have. They've lost my trust in them.
Yeah. And yeah, we get what you're saying, Arthur, have the best versus the best all in one place and like that. But, thankfully we get it for the most part with
we do. I mean,
the division, like we were saying.
We're getting a tournament. We're getting a fantastic tournament.
And then
something that the UFC won't do for us.
Yeah, no kidding. Everybody but
do a tournament for the life of them.
Yeah. But Jimmy, very true. I totally agree, my man. The chance to pull the trigger was when Jin was the champion, but they dropped the ball there.
We talked about this too. We talked about this when Jin was the Invicta champion. That was their chance. That was their chance to bring in somebody marketable, somebody likable, somebody who's a champion, somebody who made sense.
Good name, been around a while, built a fan base. It was all too perfect. It was so perfect they didn't do it.
And then they put her where? They brought her in, but they put her at strawweight.
Incredible. It's like so UFC, isn't it?
It really is. It really is a UFC thing that we're seeing with Jin, and it would be a UFC thing that we would see with the atomweight division. As much as I want to see, and I hear you, Arthur. I hear you. I see you. I get it. I think we all want it. We all would want all of the best in one spot. We all want. I think it would be the best thing for the fighters and for the fans and for MMA. But they would have to be treated fairly, and it would have to be, the division would have to be respected, and I just don't see the UFC doing that.
Yeah, and you already laid out good points about Demetrius, for example, in the smaller weight classes, and just kind of even the women in general. Sort of like, let's just look at an example of like this weekend. Ayaka and Khanna too, which we will get to. Don't you worry. That's the main event. The atomweight title fight is the main event. You guys put some respect on them right there. That's how you do it. All right, as we continue down here, plenty of comments. You guys love it. The interaction, excellent. Moni chiming in. If they were going to centralize, I'd rather Invicta to have that power. They always show care in their prospect hunting and matchmaking. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. And they're willing to work with people as well, as we've seen. With Elise Anderson being allowed to go and do this tournament. So and Invicta would not be a bad, kind of home base for everything. But things are pretty scattered, but it's working for the most part right now.
Yeah, I mean we're getting a tournament out of it, and we're getting great fights out of Ryzen. Invicta, they're kind of quiet at the moment, but I think
we'll get some announcements here coming soon. I'll give you that hint right there, tidbit. I got some info.
Okay.
But Ghost Phantom saying the bad thing about atomweight in the UFC is that a bunch of girls at strawweight would drop down. Now I get kind of the line of thinking you have here, Ghost Phantom, but I think that if you bring in enough real atomweights, which is the thing that we don't trust the UFC to do, if you bring in enough to be able to compete against these strawweights that would drop down, I think that would be awesome because you got to think about like Tisha Torres, Carla Esparza,
Michelle Watterson.
Watterson potentially. I
Angela
think that
Hill.
Angela Hill could. Yeah, I guess she could probably. Hannah Cyphers, who of course, that's not the best name to throw out there, but she would definitely.
It's a person.
She would be better suited at atomweight. There's no doubt about that. Jessica Penne maybe would go back down. Like, I think it would be fun to see kind of those additions to atomweight and maybe help it out a bit as long as they did. Loma, 100%. She is an atomweight who's just fighting at strawweight because she has to right now.
Good call, Arthur.
Yeah. So like, I get where you're coming from with that thought process, but I think it would be fun if done right. That's the thing is we don't trust it to be done right, though, unfortunately. So
Ghost Phantom said Kanako.
I don't know about that. Kanako's pretty thick. that would be cool. But Kanako's a little tank, man. I think she's pretty suited for strawweight. She'd have to shed some muscle, but I mean, she's got the height for atomweight, I suppose. So, BVB even Brianna Van Buren was teasing atomweight and Invicta to go for double champ before she left. So, there's some possibilities out there. But yeah, you guys, plenty to talk about with that tournament. We were on that topic for a good amount of time. I love it. Cannot wait for it. May 28th, I believe.
As you can see, people are interested in this tournament.
Yeah.
Except for Stamina.
Except for Stamina.
My guy, come on. I'm going to at you. I'm going to send you the link so that you can watch.
Yes. Hook him up with it. And Arthur, Kanako has never fought at atomweight. She actually fought at flyweight at a point that was kind of, she was half and half before that. So yeah, I doubt that she would be going down if that was a possibility. And she's doing just fine as is. So, I love the Kanako shouts and love. Always happy to talk about her, you guys. So, all right, let's move it along here before we get to the previews. We did have one fight announced. At least,
Well, we had two, but the one is
happening this week, so it'll be a part of the preview. Yes.
About the preview.
We'll get there. So before that, though, as you guys know, the UFC is going to be letting crowds back in. So here is a fight we'll be getting there.
So Ariane Carnelossi versus Lang Na at UFC 261. That's in Jacksonville on April 24th. And by that picture, who looks bigger in that picture? Holy shit.
Well, Carnelossi is, speaking of tanks like Kanako, she's pretty tanked out for strawweight.
Yeah, that picture is PEDs.
Hey, man, are we judging here? Even though I don't want to speak out of tune like Steve totally just did here, but I think that she might have gotten busted after her last fight, I think. Did she? Is that why we're saying that?
I think she did, yeah.
Of course, her UFC debut was against...
That picture is crazy.
It was against Angela Hill. That was her debut. And that was a while ago, so I don't want to speak out to you. Let me see here. Do a quick search to be accurate.
And she is a UFC PI graduate, which is awesome.
Yep, Dragon Girl.
Awesome to see fighters coming out of the PI in China. Love to see that. We need more. We need more of that.
Yeah. No kidding. I don't know. Maybe Carnelossi did not get busted. I'm not seeing anything here on a quick search. So, all natty. She's just ripped.
I think we all want. I think, to be honest, we all want her to win, so that more people out of the PI can come out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're starting to, kind of get more into that, of course. Yeah, Ghost
It
mentions
happens.
Ramona Pascal right there. Lee Kai Wen is over in the facility right now, I believe, as well as shout out to JHK was pointing out, things happening over there at the moment, with fighters getting in and what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Liang Na and I'm terrible at pronouncing his name, but the Mongolian murderer also who got signed at the same time as Liang Na. I don't know if he's competing on this card, but there are a couple actually Chinese fighters that are on this one. I don't have the full card up, but of course Whaley and Rose is on 261. Yeah, a little bit of a showcase potentially here and against Carnelossi. This should be a very fun fight actually. Like stylistically, you know, both have good striking, and of course, Carnelossi hits very hard. She's she's got power. You can see it. You can see it radiating off of her, and looking to rebound off of that Angela Hill loss. Um, so yeah, I don't think this is the worst matchmaking, especially for debut. It seems about right to me, and on a very big card that will be surely crazy. Um, yeah, not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. So, we'll see how the PI stuff plays out for everybody. But yeah, it works with you, Steve.
Yeah, yeah, love it. I love the PI. I have both been a big proponent of the PI. We actually okay. So the Mongolian murderer, he's on this card.
Okay, right, cool.
Um, he is taking on Molina.
Okay, okay. So right, that's yeah, that must have been what I was thinking. Yeah, there's a couple more too. Chinese fighters in particular, I believe, aside from Whaley and then these two. But
Yeah. Zhu Rong,
okay,
and then Whaley, and then that's it. So there's four. There's a
four of
total
them
of
right
four.
now at the
Yep.
moment too. Like we could see. The takeover continues, everybody. We'll see how it goes, and very excited to see Liang Na get in there. Great addition to the roster, and then see what Carnelosi can do, attempting to rebound. So 261 will be absolutely bananas for many reasons. That's a fact.
So
That
Arthur is saying he is on the card, but they have low key trying to promote a lot of, I think, Chinese fighters for Whaley card, which I think that they should put Chinese fighters on with Whaley. Whaley is the most known Chinese fighter, and I think a lot of people will start to open their eyes to Chinese fighters with Whaley, starting with Whaley.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're not the fighters that the UFC has been bringing in from China. It's not like they're bad at all. Like
No,
all doing
they're
quite well.
they're actually really great. They've been phenomenal.
Yeah, like it's just kind of a matter of the times. I think that things have shifted over there. The evolution of MMA fighters in China has really taken off, obviously, in recent years, and we're seeing that more with the people being brought in and how they're performing. So, it's just gonna continue. I think the growth of Chinese MMA is here to stay for the most part, and
Oh yeah, it's alive. It's alive and striving right now at this point.
yep,
And it's only going to get better with the PI, with whatever they have. They're going to do a contender series. It's only
yeah,
going to get better now at this point.
very, very true. So, looking forward to it. UFC 261 is gonna be crazy. But before that, you guys, we have fights coming up this week.
Yeah, we do.
So let's get into them, huh? Shall we? Let's do it.
No, Arthur, I'm agreeing with you. He said I didn't say it was bad, just the strategy they're going with. I like the strategy. I I like that strategy a lot. So UFC Vegas 22, Julia Avila and Julija Strolinenko. Is this the opening fight, or is this like the second or third?
Third.
Okay, I knew it was pretty early in the card.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because Avila is ranked. She's what,
Yeah.
number 15? Number 15 bantamweight?
I believe so. But yeah, no, poor Julia Avila getting no love with this placement. And even Stolyarenko, who's, a decent name and been around for a bit now. But yeah, Raging Panda is back, man. It feels like it's been such a while since that Eubanks fight, doesn't it? I think it's because Sarge has fought like twice since then. And Julia hasn't, I think. So
Yeah, she's active though.
yeah. So yeah, very excited for this one. Stolyarenko, of course, her second fight back in the UFC now after filling in for on short notice against Yana, and just quite didn't go her way in that one. Got clinched up, and man, another very tough matchup for her. Somebody who is gonna get in her grill, give her no space whatsoever. Bring the heat as Julia Avila does. Raging Panda lives up to her nickname wonderfully. I think that this matchup is very, very well suited for her to find success. I think that she's just really essentially going to have to watch for, I guess elbows in the clinch for any moments that it takes place there, because Julia's elbows are beautiful in the clinch and just in tight, in the pocket. She throws some very gnarly, strikes in tight. But then if Julia Avila wants to take things to the ground, got to watch out for the arm bars, because Stolyarenko is crafty as hell with those things. So, that'll be a point to look out for. But aside from that, man, I think Avila just very strong physically, and with her grappling, her striking. Of course, gets a little bit wild at times, but she hits very hard and she does not let up. So, man, I've been Raging Panda since day one. So I'm not getting off of that train just yet, as much as I've been defending Stolyarenko in recent times too. And she's really turned things around since The Ultimate Fighter, where I really was not very impressed with her at all on that season. She just did not look very good, and her fight IQ was pretty poor. She's looked very good since then, despite, of course, the loss to Yana. But yeah, in this one, I think Julia Avila, it's kind of a fight to lose for her stylistically, matchup-wise. I love me some Raging Panda against most anybody. And, in this one, again, I think she just has to watch out for kind of crazy shit. And, she should be okay. But I'm going to take Avila, looking to rebound off of her first real loss. And I think she will find a finish. And I'm going to say round one. As much as I just said I want to give some respect to Stolyarenko, I think Panda's going to rage, man.
Yeah, that's... All right, Arthur. See ya. See you next week.
Later, buddy.
Yeah, I think that Avila gets Julija and she whoops that ass. You said round one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's there's a finish in there around 1 or 2. She's mean.
Yeah,
she's a mean girl, dude. She's vicious. And I think that she's hungry. She's hungry and she wants to keep climbing. 15 is kind of low for her, to be honest. I don't really like the placement of 15, but it's what it is. She should be above, like, Lena Landsberg at 10. Every time I see it, it kind of annoys me.
Well, it's similar to Nina now, where Lena's pregnant right now.
I know, like, get them out of the rankings, and Nina Ansarov, that's another one. She was, through her whole pregnancy, she was ranked in the
entire time.
Through her whole pregnancy, she was ranked in the pound for pound. Like, if they're out for, and and you know that she's going to be out, just take them out of the rankings. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. It's funny too, because like, I remember when Alexis Davis, was pregnant. They got rid of her like right away, and I think Sarah McMahon too. Like they've been so all over the place with like that. So it's very funny, very kind of silly nonsense. But yeah, man, Raging Panda gonna rage, I think, and I think that that loss against Eubanks will only make her better from here. I think she'll be.
I think she's bitter. She's bitter, man.
Yeah, calculated chaos, I think, is what we will get in this one. But
I hope so.
Which really sucks for Stolyarenko, because I think that
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with her losing and Avila winning.
Well, I mean, yeah, if we're gonna pick sides, then yeah, I agree. But it's good to have her at bantamweight still, and hopefully, they keep her around after what we expect to be a loss here, because of course bantamweight just needs kind of anybody at the moment, and I think that Stolyarenko can beat. There's people that she definitely can beat. Of course, was kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit on short notice against Yana, and then this one is just a tricky matchup, but one that makes more sense and all that. So yeah, we will see. We will see. Everybody mentioning how she was willing to stay in the pocket with Sarge, but you got to look at it though. She was winning those exchanges. Yeah, she ate some, but
until she wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, until the ground game came into play, and things kind of played out that way. But I don't think Stolyarenko is going to be able to do that to her. So
she won't. There's
that's just not how she fights.
No, and Sijara is a better fighter.
Yeah, and a legitimate black belt. Very good on the ground. And of course, Stolyarenko good on the ground too, but more so off of her back and, working specifically for submissions and not, attacking with takedowns and that kind of thing. It's just more so if the fight goes there, then that's when she's willing to, do that kind of stuff. But, yep, we are Team Avila on this one. Everybody, let us know.
Most of the fights. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, once she starts climbing, then it's going to be like, oh shit. She's fighting like Panny. Who would I pick again with her and Panny?
Well, Julia beat her already.
I know, but if they were to fight again,
yeah, rematch would be fun.
Panny's really turned her career around, and she's doing phenomenal.
Yeah,
it might be a different fight the second time around.
I think it would be. Yeah, I think it would be. It would be very good. Avila, man, she cracked her in that first fight she had.
Oh man,
that was a good one.
But that's what Avila does though. Like she hits hard, with a capital H, dude. Hard.
Yep. So let's see if she gets it done again here in this one. As we expect her to. But all right, we will move on. That was the first bantamweight fight, the first of two. So the one that's been pushed back plenty now. Let's move on to it, Steve.
We actually get it.
We'll see.
Macy Chiasson versus Marion Renault. I don't know. Something might happen.
Yeah, I know this matchup almost seems cursed at this point.
Crazy. But it's really interesting. It's a really good fight. We've talked about it a few times now, I feel like, right? Like,
yeah.
It's been at least 3 times that we've talked about it.
Yeah, and Macy, we haven't seen her in a good while now. It's been forever. I think she hasn't fought since the Landsberg loss, has she? It's been straight up that long, right? Let me see here. Let's see, Macy Chiasson. That might have been. Oh no, Shanna Young. That's right. February of last year, and that was Shanna was replacing somebody too, wasn't she? And yeah, that was a solid performance there. But as for this one, Steve, we have talked about it plenty already. But how you feeling now as we are days away? What are your final thoughts?
I mean, I think that Macy is the hard hitter.
Absolutely.
Marion Renault has to use her takedowns. But will she be able to? That's just that's how I see it going.
It's a
Macy.
little bit striker grappler, isn't it?
It is. It really is striker versus grappler. If Renault is able to take Macy down, she's gonna be able to use her ground and pound, which is really good. But Macy hits hard, much like Avila.
Mm-hmm.
She has that knockout power.
I mean, Macy's probably one of the harder hitters in the whole division, honestly. I mean, of course, Nunes is tippy top, but
yeah, I agree.
Macy is up there.
But also, Macy, she's not terrible on the ground if she gets there. She's not terrible. It's just that she's a better striker.
Yeah.
Like a much better striker.
And comparatively in this matchup, too, she's not the better grappler. It's just
no. Not many people in that division are better than Renault, to be fair.
Yeah. Which, very impressive considering just how late into, her career that she's gotten. Marion, I believe, is the oldest fighter on the UFC roster now at the moment. I think she's 43 now and, still hanging in there. Still incredibly tough. So it's like, it would be very impressive despite, the age and all that if Macy could put her away with strikes. And, after over a year since she's last fought, all the issues that have happened in the time for each of them with this fight falling apart and everything. But it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out and if Marion really goes heavy on that takedown and grappling attack. And pretty much it's the question Ghost is presenting here, which is pretty much the question of the fight, I would say.
We see this a lot though. Like I feel like we talk about this a lot. What's more dangerous in this fight, the threat of a takedown or the power Macy generates in her striking? We talk about this a lot in a lot of these fights.
Yeah. And in this case, I feel like it's probably Macy's power, honestly, because I think that Marion she'll be willing to trade for until she's not having a good time. Until she's not having a good time, So,
until she can't any longer. Yeah.
Yeah,
because she physically might not be able to any longer.
Right. Because you look at for example, the Rocky fight that Renault had, and I believe that was her last fight. But look at that one anyway for a good example where, that was a fight where a safe bet for Renault would have been, all right, let's take this fight to the ground. Let's go heavy on the takedowns, heavy on the grappling, get it to the ground, try and submit Rocky. Didn't really do that. Was very comfortable to strike and then ended up, getting into the clinch battle and heavy knees exchanged from both fighters. But I think it was close enough, at least feeling, for Renault to where she never felt like she needed to get heavy and change the game plan to go for the takedowns and all that. So if you're going to judge by that fight and a fight where she was going against somebody who primarily a striker, and in this one going against another person who's primarily a striker, I think that she's not gonna go for that strategy until she might really need to and feel like, oh shit, I should not be striking. So with that in mind, I don't know if that is going to work against somebody who does hit as hard as Macy. So, the chin only lasts for so long. And as we mentioned, Renault is getting up there in age. She's been...
You'd hate to see her
around the block.
Out.
That would be sad. No. She's a good person, been around for a while.
You'd hate to see her get knocked out. But
we're leaning towards it, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. I'm 100% leaning toward a Macy knockout at some point. I think probably round 2.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm going to go with that exact same pick, Macy, round 2 knockout. I just think I could see it to where it's fairly competitive for like the first half of round 1, and then, Renault gets clipped a bit, and then maybe she shoots in for some panic takedowns, and it just very hurt. Then it follows into the second round, and Macy kind of puts her away. But
yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, for sure. And then Jimmy brings up a good point. Marion wouldn't have this problem if she just understood proper distance control.
Yeah, kind of always been an issue of hers. You
It has
think back to the Holly fight.
it has been an issue of hers.
Yeah. So, but either way, well, and if you want to talk about distance control though and length, I mean, obviously Macy is a very long and rangy fighter in this division.
She's tall. She's almost 6 foot. Like she's got long ass arms, long limbs. She has power. She's a tough fighter to match up with.
Yeah. So it'll be it's a tough one for both of them in certain aspects, of course, but of course, going with the youth, going with the power on this one. So
yeah,
is what it is.
What are the odds on this fight?
Good question.
Bovada has it at 170, plus 170 for Marion, and then minus 210 for Macy. So I'm seeing as high as minus 220 on 5 dimes for Macy, plus 180 for Marion.
What's that? Could you repeat that? Sorry, I was zoning out on something.
Yeah, Macy is minus 210, while Marion Renault is plus 170 on Bovada. And then Macy is as high as minus 220 on 5 dimes.
Okay, I'm not too mad at that. I think Macy being favored is fine, and anything past that, I'd probably be like, oh, that's probably a bit much, but I think that's probably fine. I think that's probably fine with me. But
and then Julia Avila is minus 400.
Wow. Okay.
On Bet Online. On 5 dimes, she's minus 380. Yeah, she's heavily favored.
Wow, big respect for the Raging Panda, and as much as we're very confident in that pick, that's a little bit surprising. And if we want to get to the real ridiculousness and the surprising nonsense of all these matchups, which here we are, Ghost, if you're still hanging in here, buddy. Let's get into it, man. The fight we're most looking forward to, I think.
Oh, man.
Even though, I love me some Julia Avila. I'm very excited for that. But in terms of...
the same for Macy as well.
Yeah.
Really into these fighters. But, and it's crazy because they're making their debuts, their UFC debuts.
Here we are.
Cheyenne Bays versus Montserrat Ruiz. Montserrat, we saw
versus Brian Kelleher, or Brian Eversole.
Well, I mean, this is short notice, so kind of giving them a pass, even though it's ridiculous to me. But and they can't even give Cheyenne a colored picture. It has to be black and white.
Contender Series picture.
They've had enough time.
Yep. But yes. In terms of the worst odds, Ghost Phantom, the odds on this fight are fucking insane.
So
downright disrespectful.
Bays is at, so the opening was at minus 250 for Bays and plus 200 for Ruiz, which is okay. That's opening. Right now, right now on Bovada, it's minus 365 for Bays, plus 275 for Montserrat, and then plus 290 for Montserrat on 5 dimes, minus 350 for Bays.
That's so absurd, dude. That is incredible ignorance. Like just blatant.
They don't know who she is.
Yeah,
they
blatant
don't know
lack of.
But this is a problem that we've seen a little bit more of lately.
A lot more.
Yeah. Where the odds makers just aren't paying attention to the women's fights, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, and then maybe in addition, like really putting way too much into straight
The
up,
Contender Series.
yeah, the content one straight up one performance from Baze, and not to say that not a good performance or anything, but like, God, come on, man, do your homework here. Like, like Kaneho is no joke, man. You and I are both very high on her, and I think that everybody who has seen her is pretty high on her at this point. Like, she is.
She's a monster, dude.
Straight up.
She's a beast. Like, she's tough. She's a very tough fighter.
The only reason that she isn't going into the UFC as Invicta champion is because she didn't get to fight for the title. That's the only reason.
Yeah, against
Dakota.
Yeah. COVID, because of COVID.
Yep.
That's the only reason. She would be a champion right now.
Yep. Yeah. So going in here against Cheyenne Bays, like, just it's so silly, those odds. But you look at in terms of performances, and this has been a reoccurring theme, I feel like, with some of these matchups lately, now that I'm thinking about it and saying it out loud. But you look at performances performed, right, like Cheyenne Bays, for example, and then level of competition fought. Bays has been less impressive and against not as good competition compared to Ruiz. Like, that's not a knock on Bays, of course. That's just a theme of their careers and where they have been, and at this current stage and what they've done, kind of thing. Like, just how their journeys have lined up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Montserrat, has performed very well, and against some good names. Of course, that last time out against Janessa Morandin, who was kind of petered out a little bit, unfortunately, but still a decent name. Yeah, and just
I'm really happy for Ruiz, but seeing Morandin kind of
at the expense of it.
Oh, man, it hurts my heart, dude.
But despite that, though, the way that Kaneho,
and like, I got feelings again.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, but the way that Kaneho beat her, though, like, it wasn't like she went out and decisioned her, like, okay, it was an all right thing, but she beat her with I still don't even know what to properly call the submission, but I call it a leg armbar, where she cranks the arm with the legs, like, yeah. Think back to Randa Marcos on Felice Herrig in Tough 20, like that submission. Incredible. You never see that one. A sleeper, nominee for submission of the year last year. And that's something that I did not expect to see from, Kaneho, who is a very strong wrestler, has a very solid striking, brings pressure like no other.
Yeah. So we say that her wrestling is really good, right? Her striking, dude, she puts it on her opponents. She comes in with fierceness.
Yeah.
Puts these combinations up that are like, oh shit.
Yep. Jimmy here. See, getting some respect from the people. Love it, you guys. You know what you're talking about. That's why you're here.
Did you see what Stamina said as far as the betters? The better realm isn't inhabited by fight fans, merely fans of gambling.
Yeah. Very good point.
Yep.
Very good point. But
I agree with that.
What do you think about Jimmy's thoughts, though, here? I can't disagree with him.
Yeah, he said, I've also seen Ruiz fight, and this isn't a good matchup for Bays. Ruiz's ability to clinch and line people up with her rear hand is pretty impressive. Yeah, her striking is really good. She's known for her wrestling, right?
Yeah, like I still don't even think of her like for her striking at all, but it's very in the back pocket for her, like insurance policy kind of.
She's gonna hurt somebody. Shit. She hurts people.
Yeah, and in a matchup,
it comes quick, and it comes really fast.
Yeah, locked and loaded, kind of.
Well, she throws a lot too.
Just that activity, that aggressiveness, right? The mad rabbit, the mad bunny.
Mad bunny. Yep.
It's
mad. Love it. I love it.
Conejo Mad.
Conejo Mad. I love that. I love that name. It fits her. I hope at the weigh-ins she's able to wear the little bunny ears.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Love everything about that girl. It's tough because Baze is really good. It's just, man, like, I just don't see her winning this fight.
She's just somebody who, she is more comfortable dictating the pace, and when somebody is going to just not allow that to happen, it's not going to be good for her. She's going to really need to adjust, and she's going to be constantly under pressure, and I don't think that's going to work out for her very well. And people are really going to be introduced to Conejo. Obviously, they're going to see what this girl's all about. And we knew it was inevitable for her to make it to the UFC. It was just a matter of when, and of course we expected that title to come beforehand. But of course, take the short notice opportunity, get there sooner. Why not? So
yeah, it's fine.
And in that regard, I think it's even worse for Baze, because she goes from taking on somebody like Kay Hansen, who again, even not a great matchup either there for Baze, giving her some tough ones here to start out. But again, Kay Hansen, I think, wouldn't have brought the same type of pace and pressure that, Conejo would have, or will. So like, that was even a slightly more favorable matchup. I still would have had Kay in that fight, but this was not a style of fighter that Baze was preparing for, because there's not too many like Conejo and what she presents. So
she's like the Clay Guida.
Yeah, that's a solid comparison, except a little bit more tight with her techniques, and of course maybe packs the power, and of course the very intriguing submission threats now, as we saw with that last fight out. So
she's turning into a really well-rounded fighter.
Mm-hmm.
She's fighting out of King's MMA.
Yes, I believe
and then
so.
Baze is out of Fortis, I think, right?
I believe so. Yes, I think that is right.
Two really good gyms too.
Yeah. King's MMA El Paso, I think, is for Conejo.
Montserrat for sure is out of King's MMA. But Baze, I think, is out of Fortis.
Yeah. And Ghost here. Yeah, very true, man. That's exactly what I was saying,
Baze needs space for style, and Ruiz doesn't give that space. Nope, she's all up in your face.
Yeah, Jimmy, that's what we're saying, man. Like, the short notice, I don't think helps her at all. It very much benefits Ruiz in this matchup.
She doesn't have a whole lot of time to watch fights on Ruiz, and that's trouble.
Yeah.
And here we go. Stamina says Baze, for me, aligns pretty well as an exemplar of people's complaints about a contender series puppy mill. I didn't expect her to get signed after what we saw, and I'm not optimistic on her behalf. I was okay. I was okay with the Baze signing. I was fine with it.
You weren't clamoring for it though, right?
Was it the best fight that we've seen from the contender series? No. And as much as I love, and many people love, the contender series, I do think that this is kind of an issue with the contender series, is they give out contracts to people who maybe are not ready for the UFC, and then they get put into tough fights out the jump because they're contender fighters, and people are really interested because of the contender series.
Yep.
At this point, though, Montserrat, as we saw with the odds, people don't know who she is. And as Jimmy said, Baze doesn't know what's coming. She doesn't have a hell of a time to look at the video and kind of dissect how Montserrat fights, which is going to be trouble.
Yeah, especially considering how she fights. Like,
crazy. She fights crazy.
Yeah. But man, I'm so happy and excited for her though. Like, Strawweight, man. Just so many great fighters that are just, continually getting thrown into the deep pool, which is amazing.
One of the best divisions in the whole world.
So good. So if you guys could not tell, I think we were both heavily on this Conejo bandwagon.
But how does Montserrat win this fight? Does she get a finish?
Second round TKO, ground and pound, I think.
Okay. I
third. I think second or third.
I'm going third because I do think that Bays is tough. And durable. I just think that Montserrat's too much at the end.
Yeah. I mean, she just is just overwhelming, man. Like it is gonna be.
She's incredibly active in fights. She has sneaky power. It's not just that wrestling that makes her look great. It's her power too.
Yep. She's got it all going.
She's legit, man. She's the whole package, and she's only getting better.
Yeah. So, look at that though. Now Mexico, just to speak about Mexico specifically, getting some very solid representatives in all three divisions now. You go strawweight, flyweight, Grasso's up there now, and then of course Aldana at bantamweight, spreading it out. So it's always cool. Always cool to see. So, all right, we agree on pretty much to a T with the method, the person, and everything, Steve. We are all in on our ladies this time.
I'm not surprised by that. I mean, we go off maybe one fight.
Yeah, we're pretty consistent.
And then we match up to each other's picks typically.
Yeah, there'll usually be like maybe one outlier every now and then, but
not on this card though. There's 3 fights and we're going all 3 pretty much the same way.
Yep. And man, I'm excited for these fights to,
That's a main card fight too, right? Bazin and
very, very good for them,
Love that.
For Conejo to get that spot in the debut, which that makes a win all that much bigger for her, to get, who knows if she would get thrown to, a 15 right after Felice Herrig, which wouldn't be bad after.
Feed Felice to Montserrat.
That would be a feeding indeed.
Do it, yes. Get her out of the rankings.
Ghost with a comment here.
Ghost says one of my favorite entries are when she lines up her right hand and pummels for an underhook.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah, very good at that. And Jimmy with a solid comparison here. I mean, in terms of the odds, it's pretty. I don't know. I don't remember what Whaley and Andrade's were, but yeah,
they were pretty crazy.
So,
Jimmy said kind of reminds me of when people counted Whaley out against Andrade.
Yeah, I mean, pretty bananas. I still can't get over those odds. Money to be made, Steve. Throw something down, buddy. Some money for you.
Yeah.
And, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week, Jimmy. We won't get into it now, but we'll wait till it actually plays out. Don't want to jinx ourselves or anything here. Still got to be good on our predictions, right? But he pulled the odds up right quick there, so not as crazy.
Minus 195 for Andrade and plus 105 for Whaley.
I mean, that's
Andrade
fair.
Andrade was the champion.
Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad in hindsight, but of course, how the fight played out, you'd be like, oh my God, that should have been flip-flopped or something. So either way, that was UFC Vegas 22, you guys. Looking forward to it. And, I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't realize when I was making like the cover of the video and putting all together the details, description, everything. I didn't realize that Rising 27 was actually this week. So I didn't put it on that stuff. But we do have Rising 27 this week, you guys. We are back. kicking off 2021, as we alluded to earlier, the main event of the show is the big title fight rematch. So, without further ado, what a better way to finish off our show today. Steve, take it away.
So, Ayaka Kahamasaki versus Khanna Sakura, of course, for the super atomweight title.
It's going down.
Great fight. Can't wait. I love it.
So, I know we've both have kind of already made predictions for this when the fight was announced, and I know that you were thinking you were leaning for the upset here, getting her redemption. Are you still feeling the same way?
I mean, am I dumb? Like to go against you know what I mean? Like to go against Kahamasaki, I would be stupid, right? But
there's nothing I can say.
Like, I'm still like, when they made this fight, I was like, oh, Asakura can finally get revenge. I love that. I love revenge fights, right?
Yeah.
Asakura. I'm going with Asakura. Fuck it. I'm going with Asakura. She's gonna win. I don't know how. I'm not gonna say how. I don't know if she's gonna get a finish. I don't know if it's going to a decision. I don't know if it's going to an illegal knee. I don't know. I don't know how it's going down. But I'm going Khanna Sakura gets the win. Somehow Khanna wins.
You think she's gonna beat that? Gonna beat the goat?
Dude, I don't know. Like I thought this from the very beginning, and I told you. I thought from the very beginning that Khanna would win the fight. I don't know what it is. I don't know how. I just think that she wins.
I love it. It's going to be very interesting. And here's the thing. Here is the thing about it. Yes, Moni, you are correct. Rise in time means no illegal knees, baby. We can get our cleansing of legal violence with Ryzen coming up this weekend. No nonsense to worry about at these UFC shows. No bullshit. But yes, ever since, especially recently after this last fight, I cannot see anybody not named Sohiham, beating Ayaka, let alone giving her a competitive fight. So with that in mind, I do think that this rematch will be more competitive than the first fight, because the first fight really, Khanna just didn't really have any answers for the experience and just overall, skill set that Ayaka had at the time of that matchup. But since then, Khanna has visibly and clearly improved tremendously, in this short amount of time. The wins that she's gotten, the win streak that she's gone on, she's looked very vicious, found a killer instinct of sorts. Of course, didn't really come out in that last fight. And that last fight with on New Year's Eve was pretty competitive. But I think that was just more of a styles making fights kind of thing. Ai is very good in her own right. Got to give some love to her. And Ai, who does actually train with Ayaka. So, that's interesting in both sides of the coin here. But yeah, I think that Khanna will be, more prepared for what to expect from Ayaka, of course. But good, man. Kahamasaki is just incredible. I don't know if there's anything she could do to impress me more than she has at this later stage of her career, because she's straight up better than ever. And, despite saying that, she'll probably find a way, because that's how fucking good she is. She will do something just mesmerizing in this fight. I pulled up the GOAT picture. I will put that down now. But, she can do it all, man. Her striking has gotten very, very good. Over the years. That was kind of a part that she admits to lacking early on in her career, where she was specifically just kind of a judo practitioner on her run through Invicta and what have you. But she's starting to show some real power, some really sharp technique. You look at that Sohiham fight, that first round in particular stands out to me, where, man, she was just lumping her up, looking very good. And of course, eating some as well, because it's Sohiham. But I don't know. Khanna Asakura, what she needs to do. Like, I really don't know if I can think of a thing, a way to that you can beat, Ayaka at this point because she's just so lethal everywhere now. Like you look at how the way that Sohee Ham managed to beat her in a fight that was a split decision, mind you, a fight that many people think that Ayaka should have won. And, I still flip flop on it. At the time, I felt like Ayaka maybe should have, but it was very close. And the reason that Sohee Ham won that fight, of course, judging a fight overall as a whole, in that second round in particular, Ayaka got caught in a triangle and was stuck there for about 4 full minutes of that round. So pretty much the whole round, right? And was eating elbows and very hard shots. And it was incredible the fact that Ayaka didn't, go out, didn't tap, and it didn't get stopped by the strikes because he did very well from that position. Did plenty of damage, held her in a very bad spot. But like that was just a matter of Ayaka getting stuck there. If that position doesn't happen, she probably just goes on to win the fight, presumably. We don't know what would have happened in those 4 minutes otherwise, but I just don't see Khanna getting into a position like that unless Kahamasaki makes some kind of mistake, which she's just been so perfect lately. It's like, man, it's incredible at the age and all of that and just how good she's looking. I can't see it. I just can't see it. But, Asakura, still very young and still incredible.
22 years old.
Yeah, still one of the very best in the world, which she's only gotten better and going to continue to get better. I think she'll put up a better fight in this one, be more calculated with her approach, be very, she wants to be a champion. She wants to show this is her, I believe only the second rematch of her career. And of course, the first one was with the Rana fights where she won. So this is her first time trying to get back a loss, which, we'll see how that plays a factor into it. I think she's taking it very seriously, but man, Ayaka is just, a different beast, as we said. And I think that she can go on fighting to the best of her abilities for as long as she wants to at this point. Who knows if she will, but yeah, man. Kahamasaki again, for me, I think she will find a submission yet again. Probably second round once again, but I just can't go against the GOAT, man. I love your feeling and your enthusiasm for the upset. It would be absolutely nuts, but I just can't. I cannot. Ayaka's something special, man.
I get it. And, I mean, I see you, Ghost Phantom. No need to apologize. I understand. I understand why people are picking Kahamasaki. I get it. There's just something about Khanna Sakura for me. I don't know. There's something about that girl. I see I see a champion in her.
Oh, that's undeniable. 22 years old.
I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen now against Ayaka. Probably not. Her odds are not in her favor. But it's MMA. Shit happens in MMA. We see this every week where crazy things happen in MMA. Does it happen this week? Probably not. But I've said from the very beginning, and I'm not gonna go against what I feel. I'm not that guy to kind of turn my pick around. Going with Khanna Sakura. And new.
Gotta love it. And Jimmy chiming in here. Hamasaki's transition from the mount to that leg scissor was incredibly smooth. Just,
Dude,
yeah. Beauty.
She's so good. She's so good. Good is an understatement.
Yeah.
She's great.
And man, incredible to me. Okay, shameless plug here, you guys. I'm not doing too many shameless plugs these days, I've kind of realized. But shameless plug, I did speak to Ayaka, before this fight. Braun Horizon episode 7, if you haven't caught that yet, over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Drake Riggs. All versions available, mymnews.com. Ayaka, she wasn't even that impressed with her performance in that fight. She was all, yeah, it's a pretty common move in judo. I'm like, well, we don't ever see that in MMA, though. That's very impressive to pull off, and in a title fight. And she's like, yeah, I gave up a takedown. You saw what it led to, though, and how she was immediately on the attack in the defense of it. And she said, yeah, I'd probably give it a 50 out of 100 if I had to rate it. So like a 50, she gives it a half. Like, man, that's a serious like championship mentality where you're not pleased with that fucking insane submission of the year,
Yeah.
what, a minute 20 or however long it was performance.
Wild.
Like, she is a serious competitor, and that's why she is a legend, one of the best.
That's not going to happen again. That's not going to happen to Khanna Sakura.
Yeah, that would be stunning. That
That
would
is
be
not happening to Khanna Sakura. I'll tell you that's what I know. Khanna Sakura is not getting fucking scissored.
Maybe rephrase that a bit.
No, I'm not rephrasing that.
Phrasing. Hashtag phrasing.
Kahamasaki will not scissor Asakura.
That is a safe bet, and no matter how you interpret that phrase, it's very likely not to happen in the ring this weekend. Going back to Ghost Phantom as well. Did we forget about Hamasaki, what she did to Tomo? Do you know how hard it is for experienced grapplers to sink in a Kimura?
I don't think we forgot. It's just
Tomo.
But we have so much to dissect about from Hamasaki. Like, she gives us so much.
Yeah. Yep. That was sensational stuff as well. Ghost shouted out to that one. Jimmy pointing out how things clicked for Hamasaki after the Souza loss. And I mean, it's like, yes, that is true, but like, it's not like she was bad before that. She was the champion. She was the champion in that fight,
Right.
Going into that fight. And she's been a champion in literally every single promotion she's fought in, except for her very first fight. Her debut was in Shuto, I believe. It was in an organization where she only fought for once, so she didn't even have time to get the title there. But she's been a champion everywhere that she has gone, and of course, gradually improved over the course of her career. And as you mentioned, Jimmy, really, turned a new leaf after that fight, and that fight was at strawweight, of course, mind you. So, yeah. She is phenomenal, and continuing to improve with age, as he points out. So, cannot wait for the return of Ryzen, you guys. Look forward to that.
Asakura's going to retire Hamasaki.
Whoa. She will retire her via losing.
Not at all.
Man, I'm going to be bummed because like Ayaka's at that point now where it looks like she will retire on top, which is awesome for her, but like it's so bittersweet, like with Habib, where man, they're looking so good that you don't want them to go because they're still delivering in such great fashion, like,
Yeah.
But that's probably what's going to happen, like most likely. Like, I don't know if she'll get challenged by, unless they can do some crazy fourth fight with Ham somehow after. Could you imagine how fucking huge that would be? Let's assume Ham wins the tournament, beats Angela Lee, Hamasaki defends the title like 2 more times in that time frame or whatever, and then somehow it's not going to happen because one, championship doesn't like to work with people, but if they could do a collaboration champion versus champion quadrilogy fight, holy fuck, how amazing would that be just for the atomweight division and everybody involved? That would be so cool. That would be so fucking awesome.
Quadrilogy fight.
Yeah, dude. The big 4. That would be awesome. But
it would be.
It's not going to happen. So that's why
I don't think it will happen. So.
Yeah, so we're fantasizing.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of fantasizing.
I know. Can't help it. Where is this Hebus comment coming from here, Jimmy? There's more to this? It seems very random.
Jimmy just wants to Hebus all of a sudden. He hates to throw shade at Hebus, but Hebus made the same mistake against Polyana and Rodriguez, while Hamasaki has never made the same mistake twice.
I mean, a fair comparison. It does seem random, but it's true. It's very true. Yeah,
I can't argue against it. But Jimmy, where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, to compare, if we're gonna compare like Hebus and Hamasaki, for example, like as I've just mentioned with like the mentality and things there's different levels to these competitors here. Hamasaki is legitimately one of the greatest fighters of all time, obviously. And yeah, she's somebody who, when mistakes are made, she absolutely refuses to let them happen again, as you're pointing at there. So, yeah, man.
All right, so he reiterated. He said, "Just saying, good fighters improve," and I just like that Kahamasaki has corrected.
So he's saying Hibas isn't a good fighter. That's what he's saying.
Jimmy is a Amanda Hebus hater.
They've been exposed, buddy.
He is not an Amanda Hebus simp.
Yeah, no simp in here. Awesome, love it. Just messing with you, Jimmy. But so yeah. All right, you guys, excited for the action this week. So overall, Steve and I agree on the UFC picks, and then we're split on the Horizon one. And even Steve's own logic knows that he's going to be wrong. So
yeah, I mean,
he admits to it though. He's a hater. All right, fine. That's fine, buddy.
That's good. I'm okay with people hating on other people. I do it all the time.
Yeah, we're judgment-free zone here, you guys. So, all right, we really were able to stretch out this episode a lot longer than expected for the light amount we had. All that tournament talk was. You guys are into it. I love to see it. They're very excited for that. Coming up May 28th. That's big. That's really big. I think just to see how. We're all very excited for it, and everybody else seems to be very excited for it. It shows that there's demand for that kind of thing. And
as far as what I've seen from like social media and stuff, people are hype.
Yeah.
For that tournament, and then for that whole card, it's all females.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Panda, of course. Jingnan back defending the title, which is
Moni. In Aussie news, Casey O'Neill has a matchup, an exciting prospect. Selena Mongji fights on Eternal MMA. So Casey O'Neill did say on social media today that she was signing a contract. Yes. Okay. She has another fight coming up. Love that.
Cool. Maybe we'll hear about that for next week, even though
I love the Swedish Aussies.
Yeah, even though we should have mentioned this off the top here, but got to get it out of the way now, Steve. We're gonna be shifting to a new day, guys.
Yeah, Drake's fucking shit up.
No. So is one in the April schedule, but we're just
we're going to Monday nights. It makes the most sense as far as programming goes. April is booked for one on Wednesdays. We won't be here at the same time as one going on. We want to be watching one just like everybody else. I mean, it would be cool to watch with you guys, along with you guys. But as far as this show going up against one, no thanks.
I'll pass on that.
So we will be going to Monday nights starting next week, actually. And I guess, Moni, for you, it's Tuesday morning.
Yep.
So come hang out with us on Monday nights and Tuesday morning for
wherever you are in this little world.
Moni, I guess.
For Moni. It's all for Moni. We do this for you.
We do this all for Moni. Fight companion, dude. Jimmy.
Simping for Moni.
Moni knows I love her. Fight companion would be amazing for one.
We'll think about it. I guess. I couldn't do it for the last week because this is she's blushing. This is partly also with my own schedule, you guys, because I'm getting to do more on the ground stuff. And next week, I will be at UFC 260 as well. So leaving on Tuesday for that, and very busy once I arrive in Vegas. So that's why shifting to Monday before leaving is all that much easier for myself and
Like I said,
Steven.
blame Drake for
Blame me, not one, and all the other MMA action. It's a culmination, right? But ultimately my fault, right? So, in terms of what is going on in the world of Steven Drake for myself, going to be on the ground for UFC 260 next week, covering for SCMP MMA once again. Go check out all the stuff there and the content provided at their channel, SCMP MMA. And then as for things in the works, just I don't think anything too crazy. Working on lining up some interviews here before the month ends and before next week. We'll see how that can go. Have one tomorrow. Hopefully, we've had some rescheduling multiple times since.
Yeah, me too.
And then maybe another. Yes. Oh, I should mention also, as Jimmy, you're throwing this out here. Can I ask Dana why he can't get Trevor Whitman's glove design through? I haven't heard of Trevor, this specific design that he's had, but I should really look into it. Have you heard of this?
Yeah. So I've actually seen the gloves. They look like they work. I mean, Trevor Whitman is a great mind in MMA.
Yep.
He knows what he's doing. He made these gloves. I don't know who they're made by, but they're legit. And as Jimmy says, it will remove those eye pokes. We're seeing on a weekly basis at this point, unfortunately. If it's not eye pokes, it's fucking illegal knees.
Right.
It's some crazy shit.
You don't get either of those in Ryzen, you guys. Check out Ryzen 27 this weekend.
So I'm hoping that with the new Venom deal, that they would bring in Venom gloves and they would work on the gloves, work on the eye poking situation.
Yeah.
I do see a lot of people. I don't know how why they think this way, but with the new gloves, that wrestlers would be put in a bad position with the new gloves. I don't think that they would be.
Well, I still have to check them out. But Jimmy, I can definitely ask Dana about that. And anybody who is watching,
Dana something worthwhile.
Of course.
He'll answer.
Yeah, unlike last time, is what you're saying.
Without like asking somebody else what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Right. But
get the egghead to talk.
Yes, of course. So you guys, if you have any questions that you want answered by fighters or Dana or whoever, throw them my way. I will do my best to be a man of the people, as I like to do. Send them, drop them in the comments here below, or, hit me up on Twitter at @DrakeRiggs_. And of course, hit up Steve too, just with whatever you might want to tell Steve about at SteveK_MMA. And then at the Scrap News.
Always down to talk.
Always down to talk some shit, And follow us, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. I guess I should also mention Broad Horizon Episode 7, of course, most recent episode coming up here. Catch that before, as I mentioned, before the event this weekend. As I said, Aya Kahamasaki is on there, as well as, 3 other competitors competing on the card: Takumi Tamaru, Kazuki Tokudome, and Yoshinori Hori. All fighting this weekend, so you can hear what their thoughts about their fights and all that good stuff before that. And then tomorrow, dropping a very special new spin-off series kind of edition of Broaden Horizon, known as Broaden Horizon Beyond the Horizon. And, you'll see what that's all about. But that is coming tomorrow. Look forward to that, you guys. Very fun, entertaining 40-minute episode for your pleasure, I guess, your viewing pleasure. MyMMAnews.com as well for that. And I think that's about all I got to throw at you guys for now. Stuff always at the Body Lock as well. You know how it goes. But Steve, what about you, man? MMA Inc.'s get any done recently?
MMA Inc.'s, one of them fell off because of COVID. A fighter got the COVID.
Boy.
she got the COVID. I feel really, really bad for. I'm continuing to talk to her though. Like we talk and stuff, and I'm like, hey, how you feeling today? Holy shit, you got the COVID. I
Getting
don't
the updates.
I don't want you to die.
I don't want you to die.
I mean, she got the COVID, so sucks. But yeah, MMA. There's a couple coming soon.
Nice. All right. Well, with all that in mind, I think we can send it on home, my man.
All right. So without you guys, there is no Drake and I. We would just be two dudes talking to each other. And who wants that? I don't want to talk to Drake.
No.
I want to talk to you guys too.
I don't even want to talk to me.
So without you guys, there is no us. Thank you to Arthur, Moni, Ghost Phantom, Jimmy, Stamina. Am I missing one? At the very beginning, there was somebody here with us, and they left.
Arthur? Did you say Arthur?
I said Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy. No, I think that's about everybody who chimed in.
And then everybody who watches that doesn't talk to us, thank you for watching. Everybody who watches later on, thank you for watching us. Until next week, Monday night. Remember, Monday night, not Wednesday.
New home, same time.
Yes, not Wednesday night, Monday night. And Tuesday morning for Moni. Until next week, stay safe.
Peace.